Om Shanti. The time that we choose to be aware doesn't necessarily require me to just sit and meditate. But even while I walk and move around, I can be in a meditative awareness, which is awareness of the soul, the original, eternal, imperishable being of light. For a little while, I'd like to invite you to be present, to be here, and to be now. Allow your mind to settle in the moment, to relax. This meditation is about awareness. It's about becoming aware of your original and eternal self. It's about connecting to your truth. Let go of your name. And observe yourself feeling nameless. Let go of your gender, to discontinue thinking you're a man or a woman. Let it go and observe how you would feel walking around without a gender. Let go of the role that you play and let go of the titles that you own. Observe how you're feeling as you are gradually letting go. Let go of your religion and put it aside just for now. And let go of your nationality and even the language that you're accustomed to. Imagine you have no name, gender, role, title, religion, nationality, or even a language. Ask yourself, how do you feel at this moment? And in this feeling, who would think of you and who would you think of? The Supreme Soul would think of you, and you, the liberated soul, would think of the Supreme. In this state of absolute freedom, I am truly who I am. A free, peaceful, pure, immortal, and eternal soul. Allow yourself to just be absorbed in this awareness. At this time,
like to begin with a greeting of peace, Om Shanti, which means Om, I am, and that refers to the inner being, and Shanti means peace, and it's a very beautiful expression to keep coming back to again and again. And in a way it sums up what is essential spirituality, to be able to know what is essential for my life, which means to know who I truly am, to know the inner being, the self. That's really such an important aspect of being able to live a life in which there's happiness and love. And so often we've moved so far away from the aspects of truth and love and joy in our lives. And so I'd like us to be able to explore some of those reasons why things are the way they are, but also maybe we can find some different perspectives to look at the same story. And once we've been able to look at the same thing from a different angle, then maybe we're going to find some solutions. For me, spirituality is maybe three things. Being able to connect with myself once more, which sounds a bit odd, but it's the reality. We're connected so much with the external persona, we forget about connecting with the inner being. And secondly, to be able to connect with the divine, the source, whatever I may know the source to be. But how do I connect and draw what I need within myself? And thirdly, on the basis of these two aspects, to use this inner capacity that's now being developed and to be able to use my inner potential in the best possible way in the work that I do in the world and the relationships that I have with others around me.
Welcome to the Brahma Kumaris, where a new world is opened up for you. From humble beginnings in India in 1936 to a global organization with over 8,000 centers in 110 countries and 1 million students worldwide. Through their tireless commitment, passionate heart, and determined spirit, the Brahma Kumaris arrived in America in 1974 and have since grown to 35 main centers throughout America. There are also 2 residential retreat centers, Peace Village, located in upstate New York, and Anubhuti, located in Novato, California.
I want to just share a little bit about how the centers of Raj Yoga meditation began in United States. Actually, I was in Caribbean islands and I got invitation from New York that we want to start something about meditation. And it was in 1978 I came here and we rented a very small apartment in Astoria. And from there I found that a lot of people have interest. I realized that there is so much need, and from there onwards then centers started in many other states.
Our centers are safe spaces where you can explore the power of your inner world.
The classes are conducted in many homes, many cities all over across the United States. A lot of people, they learn meditation, they use it, that meditation, at their workplace, in their family, and also I find that children, young adults, because they are so much into like what really is the life about.
The Brahma Kumaris are dedicated to personal and global transformation through the study and spiritual practice of Raj Yoga meditation. And at the heart of our teaching is the belief that the pathway to peace and happiness is to remember our original nature as spiritual beings connected to the one source. In 1981, the organization received recognition as an international non-governmental organization affiliated with the United Nations and accredited with general consultative status with the Economic and Social Council. From organizing large-scale global initiatives to local community programs, the Brahma Kumaris has a tradition of service in every field that fosters spiritual growth among individuals from all backgrounds, cultures, and walks of life.
I hold on to this vision, the world of love, world of peace and harmony, world which is free from conflict and sorrow, where we can live as brothers, one family, children of common parents, one supreme divine power.
This is your invitation to awaken and join us in creating a world of love, peace, and kindness. Om Shanti.
Good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Meditation Museum. This evening we have an amazing program with Sister Jenna on how to heal the hurt from the heart. And I don't know what came over Sister Jenna, but about a month ago she started going around asking everyone that question. And some of us had answers and some didn't. So Sister Jenna decided to do a discussion on that today. So it's going to be very interesting. And now we're broadcasting live on Facebook, so if you'd like, if you could take out your phone and share it, the event, that would be great so that your friends and family can watch it as well. And you can use the hashtag Brahma Kumaris or Meditation Museum, either one. That would be really nice. You too, Papaya. Okay. And also, you saw a little clip about the Brahma Kumaris, but the Brahma Kumaris is a worldwide spiritual organization. We have 9,000 branches in 120 countries, and in this area we have this location in Silver Spring and also a location in Tyson's Corner, and Sister Jenna is the founder and director of both museums. And we offer a lot of workshops on personal development and self-improvement, and you can find those on our website as well. And now I'd like to introduce Sister Jenna. I mentioned she's the director of both museums, Silver Spring and Tyson's Corner. She also serves as an evolutionary leader in service for conscious evolution. She was selected by Empower a Billion Women 2020 as one of 100 most influential leaders in 2015. And she serves on a number of advisory boards, such as the Million Mamas Movement, the Global Women Empowerment, and Conscious Good. So she's doing a whole lot of good in the world. And now let's welcome Sister Jenna. Thank you. My name is Antonia. Thank you. Thank you.
Just take a minute of silence and just pause for a little, sit up straight. Please make sure your phones are on silence or silent after you have shared on your social media where you are. It's been very interesting, I have to tell you, that whenever you are in the market of promoting or serving in the area of just, I call it simple goodness, pure goodness, and it's an observation and we could look into it further. We don't tantalize your spirit here. We don't make you excited. We don't try to push anything in. We're just like, welcome. Let's see what we're going to get. And I have noticed for myself that if we are really just focused inwards and in a very pure place, it's as if whatever you receive here touches you very, very sweetly. That it just goes organically into your system, that you don't even talk about it because it's so natural. It's so interesting. So let's take a minute, breathe, inhale, exhale, Breathe in deeply. Inhale. Exhale. Take another deep breath inwards. Breathe out. And in your moment of reflection, just smile, appreciating that you're okay where you are, and you are also giving yourself room for growth. That you think you've got some space for even a better version of yourself. A big smile. And then with that happy heart, send your pure wishes to the person sitting to your right or to your left, or in the front or in the back, and just wish them well. Say hello. Glad you could make it. I heard 495 was horrid. 3 people texted me and say, I really wanted to see you, but I'm turning back. I go, I get it. Don't worry. They were coming from Lorton and Centerville. It's okay. I still love you. Life moves on, doesn't it? So let's take a minute of silence. Om Shanti. So we tend to greet each other here with the mantra of Om Shanti. Om means I am, and Shanti means peace. And we need a lot more peace in our lives right now. A lot of us are on the various different opportunities. I don't call them challenges or difficulties, but I do call them opportunities. That somehow, whether it's through a relationship, through the government, through the media, through some situation or event that transpired in our lives, it's just, it hits you. And it hits you kind of psychically, like so deep that you really don't know where the answer is, but you can feel the emotion, like it's quite deep, and you don't really know where to begin to remove it. And I'd like to catch you up to how I ended up with this very profound question, which has been doing a lot for me personally. A month ago, I was sitting around breakfast having a discussion with staff, and I started to raise this conversation about the decisiveness with our black and white America. And it has been a very painful few years, not because of leadership, but because of all of us. Like, we're all in it. It pains me when somebody who considers themselves good speaks condescendingly about leadership, even though there might be, a reason for speaking that way, that certain people have made another decision that's going to give a lot of sorrow to people. And then we started to talk about what can we do to help to create more harmony in our country, especially where the color of our skin is concerned and our cultures. And I found myself in the conversation, without me even knowing it, moving towards a time in my life in my early 20s when I ended up in a place where I wasn't accepted. Now, I was accepted way before that. I never had an enemy. I had a good life. I was living my life of Riley, as they say it. But then when I went into this environment and into this particular space, there wasn't any acceptance. The way I walked, the way I spoke, the way I talked, the way I interacted with people, they made it very clear, not interested in you. And at the time it was painful because I thought that it was really me, like something was so wrong with me. And I used to reflect on that, like, what is it? What's wrong with me? I look at how everyone else seems to be treated so nicely, and I'm treated like Cinderella. like, what happened to my karmas? And there was something that transpired, and I think it was the grace of God or God's love on me or the love of the universe or the destiny of the drama, that something inside of me whispered very quietly and very powerfully, don't worry, there's a better version of you waiting. And I found that as our own answer for white and black America, our plight that we're in. That whether we're a black America or white American, we actually have a better version of ourselves waiting. And if we keep fighting for supporting or proving the old version was good enough, which we can see the old version of the way we considered our superiority or our inferiority, that it's not good enough anymore, that there is something more waiting for all of us. Do you agree that there is a better version of you waiting somewhere in the ethers? And at some point it's going to match your body and it's good to have your name on it. I've really believed it. So I couldn't tell you that almost 30 years ago. I'm telling you that now because about 3 weeks ago, again, the feeling came up, and even as I was speaking about it, I felt myself getting quite emotional. And as I was getting emotional, as if there was a pain and hurt that I couldn't understand. Why is this coming up? This has no place in me. It has no purpose. This was so long ago. And what I could see was that it wasn't about the way the people treated me or a particular person or two. And there's nothing worse. Can I tell you this? There's nothing worse than when people are observing you being mistreated and say nothing. What do they call it when you don't say anything? It's not dismissive, no. Apathy. Complacent. What is that thing when you just don't say anything because you're kind of numb and you don't know if you say it, you should say it. What is that word again? I think it starts with a D. Anyway, it's this place that you get where you're scared if you say something and you're also scared if you don't say something. It's when you're in between. What did they call? Closer. What do they call it? I hate when that happens. I'm hanging around Sister Gita too long, I'm telling you. Thank you. Thank you for your blessings. I've totally received it. Thank you. But it's when you just don't say anything. And that can hurt too. You know, you're sitting there, the person is being extremely unkind, rude, condescending. They're trying to let you feel that you are less than that. You don't have a voice here. Who are you to speak up? And everyone around knows what the person is saying is wrong, but they don't say anything. And that you look at them trying to say, but can't you see what she's doing is wrong? And nobody says anything. And you can leave that scene and that event feeling, there's got to be something wrong with you. So many, many years later has passed, and I find myself having a conversation around breakfast about Black America, White America, and ended up about me. It's just like, look at where these emotions come from, right? And what happened was that I realized that I had no interest in the person apologizing. I have no interest in blaming the person or the people. It was of no significance. What was most important to me was, how do I get this feeling out of me? Because now this is on me. This is my stuff. They've moved on. They're happy doing their stuff, right? But how do I move this energy out of my system? So I started to speak about this, especially in public forums. And I love when, you know, everybody expects me to be the authority, all-powerful, all-perfected one. And when I come out with stories like this, people's like, what? So then what's going to happen to us? And I'm like, what do you guys think spirituality means? It means, I think the greater the spirituality is of a person in position of leadership, to me, I think it's the greater authentic and truthful they are with their journey, that I believe you can trust these people. When they're too perfect, I kind of question it. You know, because I don't get to see what they're doing behind the scenes. But when I'm with you and you could see that
well, she's got lots of work to do, but she really is committed. I like that. I really appreciate that a lot, and I find that there's value in that, especially for me. So I went and I started to ask this question, and in classes and forums and activities, I had no idea it would have been such a provocative question and such a revealing question to ask, because many of us don't talk that openly. We won't let you know. There's a hurt sitting in me and I don't know where it came from. 2 years ago, after our election, I was quite pained, not because of who won, and everyone knew that was going to happen, but my hurt, but only later on I realized where my hurt was coming from. That it wasn't a bit about who won or whatever happened, but my hurt was because I felt betrayed by my humanity. And there was something deeper recorded inside of the soul that I felt that there might have been something in my psyche, in my sanskaras, which is what we call the deepest recordings in the soul, that there was something sitting in me of a previous lifetime. And I invite you to consider the notion of being here before, but in a human form, not an animal, not in a fish, not in a crocodile. Who wants to take birth in a crocodile? Nobody. But to be a human being and to go through rebirth, because I still didn't get it completely, so I happen to have come back again. Until I believe this, and the teachings of the Brahma Kumaris Raj Yoga believes this also quite deeply. So we match, we're in alignment with each other. I believe that if I reach a state in my consciousness where I'm just the embodiment of love of God, I won't need to come back. But if I have a little bit of issue with you, if I still want a little bit more attention from you, if I still feel I didn't forgive you enough, if I still felt I should have loved you enough, if I still regretted not speaking what I should have spoken to you, and the recording is sitting in my sanskars, in my heart, that energy will be strong enough to keep me in matter rather than to take me back home. That's what I believe, at least for now. I believe at 90%, but I give myself 10% of growth and change, because we're all changing in our wisdom. We're enhancing in our interpretation of our wisdom. But for now, I feel this very deeply, that if I can raise my volume of love for God, I won't be caught up in petty issues that much anymore. And I think the hurt that's sitting in the recording of the soul won't be dictating everything that I think, do, and say. Here's a simple experiment, and you might have to dig a little deep to go here with me. What if right now, at this moment in your life, there is no more hurt in you? How would you feel about your life? And what would you be doing? That's how powerful that is. How many of you have entered into another relationship with someone carrying the hurt of the last relationship? Not giving the other person a chance, and maybe them not giving you a chance, because they too were carrying a hurt of the last year or 5 years. For me, I think about it, I'm carrying the hurt of many lifetimes with you, so look out. Sorry that I said hello, but we're going to go for a ride here. You might be thinking it was just 1 or 2 or 4 relationships before we met. But for me, it's like it's so many lifetimes before I met, so I'm very careful with what I choose to say to you and what promises I choose to make to you. Because I don't know what's sitting in me deeply. And I know that at the end of the game, I have to take care of my emotional voids. But I do appreciate that you come and give me a temporary fix, but I know you can't do it fully. As women, we have to recognize these things for us too, because I consider ourselves as women as the ones who give so much of ourselves that sometimes we lose ourselves so much that we don't even know how to be a woman anymore. And so the hurt keeps piling up and in and more, and it comes out in different ways. If that energy of hurt doesn't get absolved, you know, like when you put, what is that, Alka-Seltzer? Remember Alka-Seltzer? Do they still have Alka-Seltzer? I hope Alka-Seltzer is watching to give us a donation. But Alka-Seltzer is where you used to, you pour the water in it, remember, and it just absolved, and those Alka-Seltzer pills absolved. So for me, if we pour the love of the divine love in our emotions and experiences that we're carrying, it just starts to absolve. It starts to have less weight. And if we don't address those painful feelings that we've been traveling with, either for birth after birth or relationship after relationship, it comes out in very unique ways. Ways that make the story of humanity very complex. Does it make sense to you what people are doing in the world today? When you look back at your life, does it make sense, the choices that you have made up until today? No, not everything makes sense to you anymore. And you sort of wonder, how in the world did I choose to do that? Why in the world did I go there? Why in the world did I say this? How in the world did I choose that person? Right? And so you wonder, what was going on in my thinking that made me somehow feel this energy was going to help me to fix my life and to fix my hurts. I was talking to someone in Florida the other day, and she said to me when we were in the car, she says, you know, I look at this person and I wonder, how in the world did I end up with this person? And I said, well, at the time it was what you need, but now you don't. But it's interesting that as we grow and as we learn and as we develop, is what we are hoping that we can develop more, that we actually look back and wonder, how did I select that? Where was I? So let's take a look at it. How do we remove the hurt from the heart? Shall we? Pay attention. First step. Pay massive attention to observing how these feelings are flowing in and out of you as a result of the various situations you find yourself in during the day. Sometimes it's when you're at the supermarket, or you're waiting in traffic, or you hear something on the radio and you heard something in the news and you're like, you cringe. Somebody calls you, somebody sends you a text. Pay attention to what you're feeling by continuously asking yourself, really, who am I as I receive this text message? You ever gotten a troll on your social media handle? Somebody who just says something really, really low vibrationally to you in your comment, and you're like, out of 1,000,008 things a person could have said, that's what they chose to say, right? And it makes you wonder about the choices that we make. People in pain give pain. It's just a normal reaction, right? So I want you to think about, when you pay attention and ask yourself, who am I? What answers do you get? When you pick up that call and you just heard you lost someone. When you pick up the text message and he or she breaks up with you with text. When you pick up the social media and you heard the headline news, just like, are we ever going to get out of this? When you look at somebody's face and you're driving in the car and you look at the joy in their eyes and you wish that was yours. When you see a little dog sticking his head out the window and you're like, oh my gosh, it's so cute. You could have been fighting with your husband and you saw the dog, you're like, oh my God, wait. Oh my God, he's so cute. What did you just say? I've seen that, literally. I've literally seen that with Happy sticking out the window. I've seen people stop fighting just to look at Happy and then go back and fight when I look them in the rearview mirror. That's why I'm talking about it. So what happens is that we're going through a lot of various emotions. But if we can answer this question, who am I? And if you can accept that you are a child of God with God's character and beauty and grace and patience and purity, then everything that you choose after that should be perfect. Does that make sense? Anyone in here thinks you're not God's child? Does anybody in here think they don't come from a higher purpose then? Does anyone in here believe that they don't deserve the best? Absolutely not. Pay attention. Slowly. Pay attention. A lot of times we have to keep checking the feelings, and the reason why I've used this diagram is that I mentioned earlier on about sanskaras, deep emotions, psychic emotions, many, many, many lifetimes of experiences sitting inside of you and me as souls. We have no idea what's at the bottom, at the deepest part of our being, but we do know when a particular person shows up in our lives, the chest gets tense. You ever met someone and just says, girl, stay away from that one? The guy just said hi, right? Or you meet somebody at work and you have a interaction with your manager and it's just strained. It's really a lot of pressure with you and this person at work. And it's not that they've done anything to you. There's just pressure. When you come in front of that person's energy, you feel pressured. You don't feel yourself. You don't feel comfortable. You don't feel like you're in the company of a 1-year-old. You feel almost as if you're in the company of danger. You don't feel safe. And the reason for us feeling that way is that recorded deeply in the soul are various emotions that we haven't absolved yet. So whether it's fear or judgment or criticism or loss or grief or disappointment or ego, those are some of the emotions that will make us feel uncomfortable around certain energies. And those energies enter into our lives to help us to release them. And the only reason why those energies stay in us is when we go, my God, he's got some issues, don't he? But I'm the one with the problem with him. But I'm saying, but he's got issues. And everyone is like, yeah, girl, I know we all say that in the office on the floor. That man's got major issues. How did he get in that position? I have no idea. But everyone's bothered by him. Why? What's at our base? What has he or she come to teach me? That's why I use the example of an iceberg. Check what's deeper in you. What are you feeling that you might need to shift? What comes up to remind you that there is hurt could be various things. You went to a party. You saw someone. You heard something. Sometimes when we go to some parties, we feel very, what do they call it? It might be insecure or isolated. You're in a party of 100, 200 people, you feel antisocial. I've seen people, I was with somebody in LA the other day. I was a juror for the film festival, for the Spirit Film Festival. And I took someone with me, and the moment he got in the space, he loved helping the folks from LA Yoga that were giving out 150 gift bags. But when he was done, he just clammed up. He's like, I don't want to be here. What do I do? Who do I talk to? And it wasn't until the end of the program that he started to feel comfortable. So have you ever been at an event and you started to feel like how you felt when you were a little teenager in school, where you felt like you didn't belong? Like nobody here knows me or likes me? You see, me, I just go up to a stranger. Hi, I'm Sister Janet. What's your name? Because I just do not want to be there wasting my time just standing up there like a baboon. It's just like, why did I drive all the way here to go to some place that I've never been before with 100 or 300 people? I have no idea who they are. I might just know one or two, and only talk to the one or two that I know. I want to find out who's in the room. At least go say hi to a few. Got it? It's a very important thing to do. Because if you don't do that and you only stay in yourself, a lot of old insecure feelings can emerge. Second thing is, have you ever played Adele? Don't play Adele. Have you ever looked at someone's face? It comes up maybe on your Facebook, Instagram, or on a video, and you just, all those memories come up with the person, and you're like, "Ugh." And you're trying to bless them, but you can only go BL, and you just can't get the bless them out of you. You ever got there like, bless you? But the face just opens up so much that's going on in you. Not necessarily about them, but the fact that they have showed up again on your feed, or at a party, or in a conversation with somebody that you were having dinner with, and goes, "Did you hear about Mary Jane?" "Oh, yeah, I'm so hush." You know, like all of these are expressions that you haven't resolved the issue, and the hurt is still sitting there with what Mary Jane did to you. You see? So the face can hit that. It can become your signal to check what's happening in you if you're paying attention. If you're paying attention. A story. I can hear so many wonderful stories, especially now. I listen to so many stories of so many people working on themselves, and you know what I have concluded? We're all just trying to figure ourselves out. There is nothing wrong with any one of us doing our thing. It's just that when I'm with you is a problem. So, government, are you happy? Media, you happy? I heard the economy is soaring. Who's benefiting in this room? Unless you're playing that stock market, or you're in a major corporation, CEO, CFO. Who really is benefiting in this economy right now? I don't know. We're not getting as much donations as we used to. I don't know who's surviving. We're doing good. I don't see $1 million check being landing in the box. I don't know why. Because the economy is striving. I mean, it's doing great. Who's benefiting from the economy? Yeah. If you can't pay your mortgage, and you can't pay your insurance, and you can't put gas in your car, and you can't just have a good meal, doesn't that hurt? Doesn't it hurt what you're seeing in Yemen? Now, I'm a big supporter with folks who've got a lot of abundance, and I bless them and I go, please continue to maintain your abundance, because there are a lot of people with abundance that are doing good. It's just not coming your way. You understand? But they are doing their good. We just don't know of all the good that they're doing. But just recently, I heard of an Indian leader who spent tens of millions for a wedding recently. And some people say, well, how many people in India could have gotten food that night? And I'm like, you know what? He has a right to spend his millions however he wants to. Who am I to say that he should be giving money to the poor? And we have to even watch our own language, because there's a hurt there. I am hurt that I don't have that kind of money. And I was with Reverend Sylvia yesterday, and I was asking her, Sylvia, what is the recording in someone's spirit that can spend $100 million for a wedding? What is sitting in that soul's vibrational field? That's what I want to know. See, now that's a whole different way of looking at it. Do you see the difference? You see the difference? Because I told Reverend Sylvia, he gave me $1 million. I could do 20 meditation museums with that. But the question should be is, what do I need to put in my spirit that money finds me? That's the question. Because if you are not a hurt person, you're going to think like that. If you're hurt, you're going to act like the victim, and that someone should give you something because you're walking around with some sort of a, like, I'm entitled to get something from you because I'm the victim. Do you see how hurt works in us as a psyche? We have to be very aware, everyone. We are at an age in our lives that we're the only ones that's going to rescue ourselves, and God's power and energy is there for us. There's no doubt. But we've got to be aware that we can take it. So let's pause for a moment, because we tend to blame people a lot for the things that happen to us. And when we get onto the path of spiritual enlightenment, I can't blame anyone anymore, and I don't want to blame myself, but I do want to change the conversation that I'm having with myself. Does that make sense? Because blame will also be depleting energy. And I don't want an energy that's low vibration to fix a low issue in my spirit. As women, we're now having to turn up the volume of our lives like never before. Because our generation of female power and feminine principles, we are the ones that's going to set the tone for the generation behind us. We're now speaking up, we're claiming rights, we're doing this, we're doing that. And so we're going to have to set the tone, and we're doing a little bit of a messy job because we're not used to it either. But we're going to get there. We're going to get there because our generation's going to do it for the ones behind us. Any questions? Does it all make sense so far? So what if the hurt that is sitting inside of you is coming from you? What if? Yes, he didn't speak so nicely to me. Yes, she didn't treat me so nicely. Yes, my parents were number one. There was a time we used to use the word Cosby, and now I can't even use it anymore. It's painful for me to even say that. So yes, it didn't go exactly the way I thought I wanted it. But haven't you been in a position where you have been so hurt, but you couldn't find the words? Do you remember those days? Where you just didn't know how to say it. Where to put the feelings. You just stayed silent. Or if you're like Medea, you brought out your caliber, right? And stuff would happen. Medea's really an amazing character by Tyler Perry. You got to watch a Medea movie. You got to watch a Medea. Medea doesn't take crap from anybody. And so the whole thing is that is it me? Is there something sitting in me that I'm now being honest enough to say, I got to get that out? And so where do I start? Accept that you're still holding on to the hurt. I think that's an important beginning. It's not about anyone else. It actually never was. You're in a movie. The characters are written in the script. That's where you stand. That's where you sit. That's what they're going to do. That's what you're going to do. You're going to choose to go there. You shouldn't have gone there. You're going to. It's as if we're just actors in this drama, and the script's already given. God is a director, the executive producer, a whole bunch of people that we consider as authorities, but we're not looking at the director. We're just thinking about the executive producer. We're missing the light. We're missing the real powerful direction. And so we're getting a little bit messed up. We're getting ourselves in positions and situations that aren't always honoring us, especially us as women, the mothers of the earth, the Shaktis, the queens. The queens. Do not blame or expect anyone who was the cause of the triggering of the hurt to be your cure. This is a must not. I know we wait for the person to say sorry, and can I tell you, I've heard so many people come and tell me sorry. It didn't change what I was feeling. Especially when they say it just to try to manipulate it or just move on. Dismissive, that was the word I was looking for. See? Dismissive. When someone's dismissive, it's worse than them being silent. Tell the truth. Right? So when somebody kind of says, I'm sorry, it's like they're like dismissing you in a way, and it's just like they don't really mean they're sorry. So do not wait for the people that have harmed you to come and say sorry. They have moved on, and we have to do the same. The question is, how do I heal my pain? Maybe I'll never find them again. But I believe in the law of karma. Either they were settling a debt with me, or I will settle my debt with them. So the more I can maintain my pure feelings, the safer I'll feel emotionally. So write down clearly what you are feeling and why. When you have some private moment, maybe even tonight, and you go home, I want you to really put on the nicest, softest music. That's your heart music. And I want you to sit as if you're writing this letter about you and what you really feel. And something that I do with teenagers, which I will do with you too, is write down on a piece of paper everything that you've not wanted anyone to know about you. It's cleansing. And it's very powerful. When you can write down on a piece of paper everything that you've been holding on to, that you've been ashamed of, that you regret, that you are embarrassed about, that you are sorry that you even have these ideas or thoughts or you've done this, write it down, read it over, and burn it. Clear out your conscience. Clean it up. Because that's connected to our hurt. Because sometimes hurt people will quietly walk around in shame for something that they've done on a spirit level in the past. They don't know it. We don't know it. But that hurt is holding us back. Begin to observe every chance you can as to how that hurt is playing out in the way you think, speak, and make your choices. Do you still choose people in your life that really are your pain factors? You knew the moment you were getting to that relationship it was a bad one, but you think it'll be okay. You attract people in your life that are your low vibrational frequency, but you ignore it. You think you'll be able to change them. Oh, I can inspire them with my lifestyle. Then after a while you realize not really. But you're only attracting a mirror reflection to help you to show yourself, to see yourself, so that you can make the change. But instead of making the change, you forgot that promise you made very deeply in your psyche, and you started to blame them as the problem. Every time I find myself about to say something about someone close to me, I catch myself, and I find, I don't think I'm like that in this lifetime, but I might have been that in another one, so let me give some empathy here. You see, what this does, it softens our hurt, and it raises our love, and it raises our worth. And what happens is that as women, we begin to walk with more dignity and confidence and value and presence. Because we're not holding on to issues anymore, feeling like the victim. Be still and let go. Observe where you can catch moments to find power to give some space for release. It'll happen when you're eating. It'll happen when you're about to open the refrigerator door. It'll happen when you roll over on your side table to get your cell phone. It'll happen when you get off of your bed to walk to the bathroom. It'll happen when you lock your door and you're going down your steps to enter into your car. It'll happen when you open the door in your office space and go towards your cubicle. There'll be a moment in time where you can sense a feeling and you can say, I don't want to nurture this. and you can give it some wisdom and say, you don't need to feel this anymore. It's over for you. So you have to pay that much attention if you want to remove that hurt, because the hurt is just sitting there. It's just sitting there. And it's almost as if it's like a parasite. It's just kind of stuck to you. And until you remove it, it's just going to sit there. That's why if we see any painful scenes or we hear, I cannot watch somebody getting stoned. Now, some people can do it. Like Antonia cannot hear stories about young girls getting, sexually abused. I'm like, I can get over that. I can just go in there and go, what are you doing? Get up. I can just fix that. But if I was seeing someone stoned, I would just get numb. I would get like that. So each of us are carrying their own trauma, which we still have to release. And the way that you feel as a result of seeing that scene is a sign that there's something in you that have impacted you so deeply that it needs releasing. So keep paying attention when you hear something, see something, look at a particular couple going through something. You go, wait, and just see where your thoughts take you back to, because that's not where you need to live from. You need to live for your tomorrows. So right there at that present moment, I need to check. I can't feed that feeling. Yeah, I used to be in a relationship like that. Not anymore. I've now declared I deserve better. I'm very clear. So I won't be going there anymore. So that's where you have to look for these little mini moments during the day in order to catch it. So talk about it openly without any intent to place blame on anyone. No blame on anyone. Do not waste your life blaming people for what they do, didn't do, should have done. It's a waste. Rather seek to resolve it for yourself. Start with people you feel safe with till you become strong enough to accept that you're truly ready to release something. When I started to speak openly about the hurt that I was feeling, people looked at me like I had picked up a disease or something that was contagious. And I looked at them and I wondered, aren't you really being honest with your own selves? Are you telling me that you don't feel something that has hurt you so much that you're still clinging to? I go, wow, I think you must be amazing. And then it wasn't until later on people started to send me emails and said, Sister Jenna, I too have the same problem. But nobody feels safe enough to speak about themselves. What I've realized, people don't care after a while. You just might be helping them to open up something deeper in themselves, but they needed you to be courageous enough to be the first one to start the conversation. People are not going to care. They're not going to judge you that much. Oh, did you hear so-and-so got hurt? People are checking themselves. And I'm glad about that. Imagine how you would be and feel if the hurt was no longer inside of you, which we tried earlier on today. Be still and allow a gentle thank you, a gentle grace to flow. Let's move on. So you are what you watch and you are what you listen to. You saw how I got stuck there, right? Don't you just love imperfection? I love it. It's important that you watch programs that inspire you. Get addicted to conscious good programming. Try to stay away from horror. Try to stay away from violent flicks, because all of that will feed your psyche, and it just feeds the hurt. Because hurt is a form of fear too. Listen to inspiring talks and stories. Download the American Meditating app and just keep listening to all the amazing experts that I interview every single day. You will always learn something from one of our guests. Something that I've liked, that I've been doing a lot. Write a story with you in it, about you, and how you would like this to turn out for you. It's incredible. It's like you're writing your own fiction movie, but you're the star. So what I'd like you to do is actually write a story about yourself that would inspire not only the way you're living your life today, but the impact it would have on the world. What would you do to do that? What would you be doing to do that? Do you remember to do that? Try that. It's very healing. And as women, we need now to rewrite our stories. We're no longer able to be the traditional woman, stifled and locked up in a prison. But we don't want to be so wild and out there that we lose sight of our sacredness. The perfect balance to me of the perfect woman is that she carries very pure, deep values and principles, but she has a flair about the way she shares that with humanity. There's something very appealing by the way she walks into the room with her flair and her beauty, being very clear, but these are my principles. And she's not imposing her principles on you, it's just who she is. And she can trust that her children will be given a great example of how to be. Her friends and the people around her will be inspired to be in her company because she is a woman, a Shakti, a woman of the future. I think it has so much to do with the way we see ourselves. Hurt less people, which is a new word that I've created in the last month. Hurt less people carry themselves in a hurtless way. If you are hurt less, you will carry yourself like you were the queen of the room without the ego. It's such a beautiful feeling. Even if you get it for 1 minute, queen for a minute, then you're back to average. But do not deny you're queen for a minute, because there's always another party and there's always another meeting at work, and there's always another moment where you can go, just turn your queen on and you get yourself back. Until your 1 minute goes into 2 and 3 and 5, until a day passes and you felt like you were the queen the whole day, until being a queen in your world is normal, that you're not average anymore. That actually when you start to be average as a woman, you feel uncomfortable. Now we feel uncomfortable to be a queen more than 2 minutes. We're like, she got ego. No, she's working on her queenhood. Let her be. How can I help her? Yes, it's annoying when she really does have some ego. But then what I would do is tell my queen sister, can you tone down the ego a little bit? Give me some humility. I mean, I really want to support you. And it just depends on your relationship with her too. Right? So you have to keep experimenting with these things. I was at a dinner with someone the other day in LA, and I had heard something, but I hadn't heard it with the intention of having it sit in me, only to realize when I was invited for breakfast that it did sit in me. And so I'm at this person's house for breakfast, and I don't feel pure in my presence with them. And I sat there and I thought, if this was my last day on earth, I will die a hypocrite in this room. This is how much you have to pay attention. And so as they sat in front of me, I says, can I say something? I'd like to request your apology. And they're like, apology for what? I heard something about you guys, and I had no idea it sat in me. And I'm in your house without totally being present here with you, knowing you and I don't have an issue. And what's most important is that I just enjoy being with you here. I don't care what they said. I don't care what they believe. And then you know what she said to me? Well, we heard things about you too, and we shouldn't believe it. I go, good, and none of it you heard was true. It wasn't. But the point that I'm saying is that the moment I told them that I'm sorry that I sit here holding reservations about you, that it had nothing to do with me, can you accept my apology? Then you know why I did it like that? Because you know what? I lived without these people for many years, and if they don't accept me today, it's going to be okay. but I will leave that environment. Guess what? I will actually leave that space with a clear conscience. And that's what was important to me, is that I left that place with my spirit clean. Whether they call me or not, it didn't matter. Are you bold enough to do that? Can I invite you to try it? Clean out your interactions with people and stop living in gray areas with people. It's a waste of your life, and it's a waste of you being able to remove your hurts from yourself. Now, they did text me back. They did appreciate my honesty. And my conscience, it was clean. I invite you to consider these ideas more and more. You're going to live with or without them. But let your conscience be clean. Because what we're going to need to get back home to God is a clean conscience. And we're not here to fool people anymore. We're here to clean our spirits out. There are too many of these games that people are playing with one another that you're just not worth it. It's tiring. And you can see when you're lying to yourself. Even God can see it, but He has no power because you're not even letting Him in to tell you, you know you shouldn't be thinking that, right? Be silent. Practice to think only pure thoughts for at least 1 minute a day. In other words, meditate as much as you can during a day. Try to keep having this. Be ready to live your life lightened by the hurt. The way you see the world would change for you, and you have to be ready so that you do not take yourself back to the depths of that hurt. If you don't keep a consistent, vigilant approach towards keeping that energy of hurt out of you, if you don't clean your house, for us it's every day, for some it's once a week, for some others it's once every month. There are no men in the room. But for us, we clean all the time, right? Supposedly. And then what happens is that you find out if you don't clean, it's not that you're dirty, but the environment is so dirty that dust just starts to pile up. So in the same way, if you and I don't keep a lot of attention and stay vigilant in keeping this energy in our system moving, you know, keeping that hurt out and keeping to amplify love in, it's going to come back. So you might have heard yourself say, I thought I finished that. How come that's back? It means you didn't. Okay? It means you reduced it, but you stopped paying attention to it, and so you're feeling the intensity of it again. So you have to keep paying attention to having some sort of a daily practice in how to keep staying focused. Keep your heart open and welcome the good and positive-minded people. Please, please, please. Begin to attract good people in your life. Begin to focus on positive people. Like I told my wonderful friend Manisha here, I says it's okay if you have one naughty friend in the batch because you know you won't do what she's doing. But she does entertain you. And that's very good. She's like, what does she do now? It is just entertainment. And you'll always have one friend who is just wild and crazy. And you just love her. Because for some weird reason, you know you just will never have the courage to do what she's doing. Right, Papaya? So do charity, smile more, practice speaking, and being with people with love, not suspicion, pain, or desire. A lot of times we say hello to people with a lot of suspicious motives, like what are they up to? You ever had some of those people in Indian culture? We say hello and we scan you to see what your field and vibrations are like. Namaste. And it's a very normal thing in our culture now. And everyone's an expert at it. I used to wonder when I first used to go to India, they would look at me and go, and I'd be like, what? Something. And then I realized that they did it to everyone. And it was just cultural. So, you know, you have to learn your way through people. Through cultures, through languages. It's all a learning game. But what I do know for sure, when you're ready, face your hurt. speak to the people that you feel safe with and begin to ask them, how do you get it out? I was at Home Depot on Monday, and this wonderful guy just came to help, Phil. And Phil and I just had this very wonderful conversation, and we talked about what we were doing for Christmas and where you're going to go. And I go, I just love being around people, so I just hope everybody comes over for Christmas. We just have a really nice time. But you know what I'm working on, Phil, that I don't want to walk into for 2019? I don't want to walk into 2019 with a hurt heart. And he was like, oh my God, that's deep. And I said, I know. I just don't want to go into 2019 with that feeling. And we ended up in such a beautiful conversation about pain, getting over it, what would he do? So raise really good questions in your environments now with your friends. Tell them you came to a place that just, you know what, I'm just now feeling I want us to have some real deep, meaningful conversations. I don't want to gossip about people who are just ignorant. Oh, sorry, I don't mean to say that. But I don't want to gossip about I don't want to gossip about people who are trying to work out their stuff. All that energy I can use on straightening out my own stuff. And right now, as women, we're going to need each other now more than ever. And that's not always easy for us. But it's not impossible for us. You got to get rid of this jealousy energy. Like I've seen it. When other women see other women doing really good, there's something holds back in them. I just like, they don't talk good about you. They don't spread your good news. Look what's happening with so-and-so. She's doing well. In other words, what they would do, don't spread it. Don't share what she's doing. Don't tell anybody how good she's doing. And I'm like, why would you do that? Now, some women, they could be spiritual or non-spiritual. When a woman seems to be very confident, or she seems to be very progressive, they say it like this: she's ambitious. Some people are very ambitious. I go, what does she mean by saying that? It's as if women aren't supposed to be driven. Aren't women supposed to also see how God can work through them? Aren't women supposed to actually see for herself what the amplification of her worth is too, just for her? How can that be ambition? Aren't you going to celebrate your woman friend who seems to be breaking down doors and making the impossible possible and is elevating and enlightening people's lives? Don't you want to talk and celebrate her? Don't you want to sit on a stage and then when you say, I see so many of my fellow sisters and some of them are just breaking down those doors, go for it. Keep breaking them down. Keep inspiring the world, my sister. We're with you. We're supporting you. Keep being awesome. Why did they say, she's ambitious, no? It's jealousy. Because they're not doing it. Another thing that women will do to each other that hurts is that they use the defamation of a woman as a form of a weapon. They will defame women. We saw that more than anything else with poor Hillary Clinton. My goodness, how did that woman stand there with her dignity? My hat goes off to her. So when I saw her dancing and having a good time with John Kerry in India, I go, go girl. You deserve it. And then the trolls were going, well, she must have gotten money from this. I go, oh, just be quiet. Let the woman celebrate with her own friends. Again, do you see what we're up against? But do you also see the opportunity that we have in front of us? So when you hear another woman speaking ill about another woman, stop her and go, you know what, girlfriend? We need to help each other up. I don't think she deserves it either, but we need to. We do. I've seen it in women. They do that to each other all the time. And you can feel it like you don't even know why you're holding back celebrating her glory. because you feel like, I want that too sometimes. I want someone to celebrate me too. We're not accustomed to pushing each other up and supporting each other. So let us begin doing that. And if you ever hear another woman say someone's got ambition, just say, isn't it beautiful the way God works through her? Break their negativity on your spirit. Don't listen to those dream snatchers. Why can't women just be happy with the success of another woman and just go to her and say, how are you doing it? I would love to learn. Wouldn't that be a voice of a woman who isn't hurt? So you see what we have in front of us, ladies? Do you see the enormous opportunity we have of fixing ourselves right so that the generation behind us can say, this is how auntie did it, this is how mama did it, this is how grandma did it. And they help each other. Take some time to get it in, though. But let's help one another. Okay? All right. Thank you all so much, ladies. Any room, any questions that you might have tonight? Any thoughts to share? Please come on up to the mic. Yeah. I like what your t-shirt says, follow your karma, because karma has your address.
Greetings.
Greetings.
Shanti.
Om
I love
Shanti.
that. I just wanted to say, Sister Jennifer, first before I go into my comment, that I would listen to your radio shows. I would download the app, and it is an honor just to be here, as I know we are one, and your energy is just so pure, and I'm just in awe of all of us, because we all are
follow
one.
your karma. Thanks.
But the comment that I wanted to make that helped me to heal my heart and to be, a positive reflection of the women in my life was I had to first give myself that permission to love myself and to celebrate myself first. And sometimes, it comes from not being able to celebrate ourselves and not being, just feeling that we're deserving of being celebrated, that we hold back from celebrating each other. So that's just my suggestion, is sometimes we just have to get into our own heart space to celebrate ourselves and fill ourselves up first. And then once we're full on ourselves and we truly believe that we deserve everything, nothing but the best that the source has for us, we're able to really celebrate each other. So don't skip that step of celebrating yourself and getting in the habit and then being comfortable and looking in the mirror and celebrating ourselves.
Thank you so much. We celebrate you. We really celebrate you. Thank you.
Okay. Good evening, Sister Jenna. It's so nice to be with all of you. Your words are always so inspirational. Whenever I come here, you really speak to my heart. And there was a couple things you said. One is to write your story. And it's something I've been thinking about doing quite a bit. And I find it a challenge because there are places that hurt inside. So I wanted to delve into that process a little bit if you have some suggestions. And secondly, the question I have really is, there are a few women in my life that I feel close to. I have a sister and I have a brother, and I think sometimes family is the hardest part. That's where a lot of hurt is. And you can't ignore them. You can't eliminate them. So that would be my other question, is how to address those that make us feel a hurt.
Like what I did, I spoke very openly, and I had reached a point in my life that it was no longer acceptable for me to continue to keep having a particular person in my life to consistently keep defaming me or putting me down, whether it's like in a dog whistle way or if it was in a gross way. And in many ways, they would do it with that dog whistle in which I would know they're talking about me. And I could feel it all through my being. Whereas I talk to the other person, they're like, oh, no, that was great. And I was like, I know for sure this is my message, right? And so there has to come a point in time in your life where sometimes I feel like when folks in our family speak ill of us, whether it's by lieu of a third party, or they criticize us or complain about us, it's as if they're trying to send an arrow to hurt us without even knowing they're doing it. I don't know. It's almost, I feel like they're intentionally trying to disempower you. And so what happens is that when you start to do the work on yourself and you really start to take your power from source and you begin to realize that your clean conscience is your greatest force and your greatest strength and the greatest way that you can show up to humanity, then when you actually begin to speak and even say, well, so-and-so used to be like this or say this to me, and now I've realized it's not about them. It's about the fact that I'm too sensitive. I've got to get rid of my ego. I've got to get rid of this. And I think what that does, it disarms whatever that person's vibrations are towards you, because you have found the answer for you. So it's almost as if you're blocking their energy from coming through to you, because now you're going to do the work. But subtly, we were waiting for people to do something for us. Like, when is she going to speak nicely about me? When is my husband going to finally respect me as the mother and the and the wife that I am in the home? Like, you have to keep subtly checking if you still want the people in and around your life to give you the happiness that you need. Like, we have to check. So even though it's family, it's like, it's okay. I've been living with their behavior for so long. I think I can live now with their same behavior, but with me being truthful that I'm so sorry, I really don't want to accept that kind of a conversation with me anymore. Maya Angelou had this wonderful story where they were at this big party function and somebody in her home spoke something that was not conducive to Maya's values. And when Maya just went up to the person and says, did you bring a coat? By the way, did you come with somebody? And you're going to be like, I just want you to know that in my house we don't have that kind of a conversation because I don't want that energy in my walls. So I really love that you came, but you have to go. That's how fierce we have to become with our language and our transformation. I mean, really. It has to become that fierce. Because we lie to ourselves when we keep letting them do it. It's okay. And then we get pulled in. Have a question?
So I hear what you're saying, and I guess the first step,
Pay attention.
not just to pay attention, but I think sometimes as women, and I'm going to qualify this for a second, as a woman of color, we have been raised, forced, put in positions where we have had to be strong. So there's a certain vulnerability and honesty that we have to have as our first conversation with ourselves before we can start to even attempt to have that conversation. with somebody else. And even as I say that, I go back. I'll take your example because you have a brother and a sister, and there are conversations that you have got to have that you already know. This is going to be said, this is going to be said, this is going to be said. But you have to have that conversation with yourself first.
In order to what?
In order to face that and address it when it comes up. Yes?
It's important for us to be able to build an honest dialogue with ourselves. And again, I'm in a lot of situations where individuals, I'll give you a story, went to a funeral about 2 months ago, and the person who was driving me would just start a conversation about a little bit of gossip about somebody, and I was like, I'd rather not. I'm not really, it's okay, but let's not go there. After 10, 15 minutes, and they started again. Well, you know, did you hear? Did you hear? Is what they say. Did you hear? I go, no, I really didn't, but I'm okay. I'm really okay. You have to find your power and your strength and your values that you stand in. So I hear you when you say the conversation has to start with you. And as much as I value, I don't think anyone can come from such a strong background as my mother, who's been, and this is not a comparison, I can only speak from my experience with her, from being orphaned, abandoned, abused, pushed aside, left on the road, all that stuff. She had nothing called love growing up. And somehow she raised me, and I think I had love. And I have no idea how she protected me from being raped or abused or being a part of the statistics in the system. I don't know where she found her strength from. Does she consider herself a black Caribbean woman raised in America that she's had to fight through? I don't know, but I would suspect that she got a lot of her strength from her love for God. And there's a power and a strength just in her, whether she was black, white, pink, or blue, that she pulled from, and that's what pulled her through. So when you're with like family members or friends, and there are certain things that are happening in a family that everybody knows about, and everyone's walking with that gray stuff, that psychic stuff between all of you, somebody in the family has to become the strong one and go, I'm not going to placate that kind of an energy anymore. So let's say you're sitting at the dining room table and they all start to talk about Mary Sue. You heard, they can get divorced. And I'm like, I hope not. I just hope they can talk about it. I would just be the one, because I'm now fixing me. So it's natural for me to start to speak with a language that is about fixing with others. Do you understand? But you have to be that. And if you go back and forth and facilitate, like you go back and forth and you just say, well, what happened? Tell me a little bit. It's because you're still there. And that's okay. That's okay. But when you leave that moment, you're going to realize I had such a great opportunity to shift to that conversation, but I didn't. So as we can say, as African-American women who are some of the strongest, Nikki Giovanni said it best to me, and she said, Sister Jenna, you know what America needs? Do you all know Nikki Giovanni? She's a wonderful poet for America. She goes, America needs an African-American black president, woman president. And she says, you know why I think America needs an African-American woman as the president of the United States? Because that woman will cook and make everybody happy in the country. And I love that. Because sometimes I think the only thing needed to make the world a better place is just a good meal. Why can't America just cook one big meal and go, break bread, America, let's get over this? Wouldn't that be sweet? So anyway, I get you. Thank you for sharing. And so whatever it takes and however it takes for us to repair ourselves, and the little hurts that are sitting in there, keep talking about it, not with any blame, but like, how do I get that vibe out of me? Keep asking the question. Write it down. What's in it? Speak to the right people. You just might find the answers sitting there. Okay? Thank you so much.
Well, I hope everyone enjoyed the program this evening. Let's give a hand to Sister Jenna for a lovely workshop. Thank you. And on Saturday, Sister Jenna will be back again doing a workshop here on finding your potential. And that will be from 1:30 to 3 o'clock, again at this museum. And on Sunday at the Tyson's Corner Museum, we have a workshop on mastering your self-esteem. And that one will be at 11:30 to 1 o'clock. Also, on your seat, you have a couple gifts. You have a door hanger and a card that has information about the Meditation Museum. And it mentions the radio show. We have a free app, someone mentioned, on called Pause for Peace. And that has the radio show that Sister Jenna hosts, America Meditating Radio. And we have 4 years worth of shows on there, and it's all about self-improvement, personal development. So if you haven't downloaded that yet, please do so, and you'll enjoy that. Also, in the back near the reception area, we have a 50% off book sale, and it's all on personal development books. So please stop by on your way out and check that out. We also have some inspirational stones as well, and those are on the reception desk. And right next to Sister Jenna, we have a set here, the Who Am I collection. With that, we have a T-shirt, a journal, the cup, the mug, and a baseball cap. It would normally retail for $150, and today we're selling it for just $27. That was a joke. So it's normally $44, but yeah. But we have it. So you're getting a really good deal. So it's only $27, and that makes a great Christmas gift. We have the T-shirts in different sizes in the back as well, so you can see that. And also, we have a special on the CDs by Sister Jenna, Off the Grid, Into the Heart, and also Inclusion Revolution. You can get both of these for only $10.99, and we have those in the back. And Sister Jenna has a new CD coming out called Your Inner World, and we're going to hear a brief meditation from that shortly. And after that, if you could please come up one by one, and Sister Jenna will have a treat for you as well as the blessing card. And again, thank you very much. We hope you'll join us again for Finding Your Potential with Sister Jenna on Saturday here at this location. And thank you. Have a nice evening.
Ego identity or attachment identity is still so strong in our recordings in the soul that even though we know we must let things go, we still don't, because the energy of attachment and ego is much stronger than the need to be free. And so I think like there are different layers that we have to keep going through with one another to help each other through. But don't underestimate those little mini moments of victory when you do speak truth to power with someone and you walk away just feeling like truth does set you free. You know, versus those times when you just become forgetful. All right, so take a deep breath, inhale and exhale, and thanks for coming out today. Have a lovely night. Please remember to write your stories and feel free to keep in touch with us whenever you wish as well.
breathing with a deep sense of relief, you walk towards a door that has an unusual lock. It's an old, ornate iron doorknob. As you enter this room, you are met by a suppressed sound. It's a sound of regret and dislike. It's the room that you entered and instantly felt it was the room in which you could not forgive yourself or anyone else. In this room, it was darker than the rest. But across the room, there is a chair. It is by a window with the gentle glow of a gentle light, calling you over to sit and see, and to begin to answer your own why. Why not forgive? Why not love? Why not release? Why do I keep trying to control? Breathing a little heavier, you find yourself feeling heavy, unclear, unhappy, removed from any innocence that once existed. In this room, you feel unable to forgive, to let go of the past, to trust yourself or your destiny. The discomfort is increasing, but using the power to withdraw and allow yourself to begin to seep in that you are able to accept these feelings, knowing that you placed them there and you can remove them. So next to your chair are a pen and paper. You pick them up and begin writing down all the effects of holding on to these feelings of pain and despair. You can find none. Then you find yourself wanting to turn towards the window, offering you that gentle, warm glow coming through the window. You settle, still without thoughts other than, let me see the glow, not the darkness. You start writing your feelings. The feelings you are experiencing as you look at the warm glow through the window, you allow its energy to flow through you. Because in this room, you can't face yourself alone. And you can't do this alone. You need support. You need love. You need the power of acceptance. you allow an entry of holiness to create a crack in the space of your mind, giving you finally a gentle release.